Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business. Hello everybody and welcome. I'm so excited for today having someone that truly inspired me in business. I had the privilege to meet Dave a couple of years ago at lunch in a community that we are both part of. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my goodness, every business owner should learn and talk to Dave because it's just like absolutely insane. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and chat about his story, but I'm going to sort of add a little bit, just a tiny bit about my impression of Dave. So when I first met him, he told me one thing, that I was getting in the way of my business growth because of my mindset. I'm going to let him tell the story on how he started a business and what happened because it's truly, truly exciting. So everybody help me welcome Dave Houston.
Thank you. Thank you, Francesca. It's a pleasure to be here and it's a pleasure to be speaking at your Level Up conference. If I should be speaking at any conference, it's definitely the Level Up conference because that's kind of my advisory identity is Level Up Dave for good reason. So I spent many years in EO interacting with a lot of different entrepreneurs, seen an enormous sort of data set really of different entrepreneurs going through different things, and also lived it myself. You know, I've grown a business that I'm selling it now, but I've grown a business that peaked at 75 employees and, you know, into 8 figures. So really awesome foundation to be able to share advice with people on how to transform their lives and transform as individuals. And yeah, I guess coming back to our lunch, it was a long lunch. They're always long and very enjoyable lunches. But you know, the key point that I wanted to make to you and that I'd make to everyone when I first meet them is that I really feel that your distance from the customer defines you as an entrepreneur. It is the dominant variable in entrepreneurship, and it's the thing to pay serious attention to is, you know, how many people between you and the customer that your business serves, and is a journey. You know, that's a journey from perhaps where you were, Francesca, initially serving, you know, meeting customers, serving them directly, adding value directly. That's definitely where I started. I started out as a dentist, serving the customer directly, and I think so many entrepreneurs do. They find business through their specific trade or their specific interest or their niche. They're good at what they do in terms of serving the customer. And from there, a dream begins where they think, could we do this? Could we do this bigger and better?
Yeah. And this is how, when I talk about you and everybody, when people tell me what's happening at the conference, I'm like, oh my gosh, Dave is going to talk about my favorite topic, which is, I usually explain it this way. So I say he studied so long to become a dentist, and then he created a dentist clinic. And then through coaches and other people, he realized that he was sort of stuck in being a dentist, and he had to fire himself and hire a dentist, which was a mindset really challenge.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think it's a particularly hard thing to do when you're good at serving the customer directly. I call it at level 0, you're zero distance from the customer. It's hard to give that up just generally across all industries. But when you're a dentist and you've studied it for 5 years and you've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in your education, it's a particularly terrifying leap. You know, as good as that is, for some reason, I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't satisfied with it. I had to keep exploring, and yeah, the day came like a huge leap of faith when I said, right, I'm gonna have a year off. I'm going to have a year off and I'm just going to, you know, really study business informally in the end during that year. But I'm really going to spend the commitment I made to myself was I was going to spend every second of that additional time improving the business. And I did that, you know, and I sort of went into systemization of how do we really deeply systemize these the clinics so that they run elegantly. And that was, you know, that was in 2014. That was a long time ago.
Wow. And Dave, when you made that decision, you had one clinic, right? Because it was you, the dentist,
Yep.
and just one clinic. So
Yes.
you were able to step out of it, and that's how then you created more clinics. And
Yes.
this is like something that I talk to my clients every day, and I resonate because I'm still sometimes like people want to talk to me and it's like, oh, damn it, I'm still stuck in the levels of the business there. We're not going to talk too much about it because if you want to know more about this, you have to come to conference. But Dave is going to literally teach us how we feel like we're stepping away from the clients, but something pull us back in. And literally, that's what Dave is going to talk about, right?
Yeah, that's it. And see, because I walked that path, effectively becoming a general manager of my own business, and then all the knock-on growth that enabled our business to go from 1 location to 6 locations.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think understanding what I've sort of observed is there's a very formulaic journey, both emotionally, technically, and in the work that needs to be done, the things that need to be learned, and also critically, the things that need to be unlearned. So, and I would actually say the unlearning is harder than the learning.
Oh my gosh. This is literally when you blew up my mind at the lunch because you were telling me the unlearning part. And that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I'm so stuck of thinking that I know everything about business because I grew the business to the 1 million. And I was like, I was actually stuck more than when I was not knowledgeable about anything because I was open to learn. But when I got to the million, I was like, I know everything. And it's so difficult for me to, exactly what you said, unlearn it. I love this part.
Yeah. So, and that's it. And so every level, every increment from the customer you progress, first of all, you've got to learn what works at that particular level. But then the hard thing is you've got to, in jumping to the next level, you've got to unlearn those things and learn new things. It's like you're in a completely different dimension where the rules that worked over here that you have conviction and true experience in. And so for that reason, it's a real leap of faith because in that journey, you're asked to try things and do things that seem contrary to your previous experience and seem like they'll take you backwards. It's just so, and this is sort of why the scaling journey, I feel on average is so difficult. For me, it was so difficult for me, so difficult for other people and that's kind of why I want to, I'm just so eager. I feel like it's almost my life's work to share this paradigm because the paradigm of understanding your level and understanding the full journey from all the way from serving the customer directly all the way up to sort of chairman of the board of a CEO run company you own. Once you understand the full spectrum of the journey, it's so much easier to make the adaptations that are needed, seek out the relevant and accurate mentors that you need at that particular level, and just progress and feel like you're progressing. I think the main thing for entrepreneurs, progress is like oxygen. Many of us aren't interested in even in the money of the business will generate, especially in the latter stages. Like what really interests us is progress in our lives, in our quality of life, in our families, in our time availability. And I've mentored probably 24 people now through this journey with amazing results. And I say with just total conviction, it can be done. Your life can be improved. You can level up. Yeah.
I love it. That is so beautiful. And so if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I love this. This is just the beginning. Dave is going to be 1 hour on stage at the conference. Plus he's going to be in the panels and he's also going to be part of a roundtable where you can actually go and sit with Dave and ask questions to him and to all the other speakers. So sit yourself, like get your ticket now if you haven't got it. We already got 85 people and maximum we can have 100 only in that room. So there's literally only a few dozen of tickets available. So you need to get yourself a ticket now. So I would like to ask you one more question. The thing is this, right? So a lot of my clients tell me something. They say, Francesca, I am not meant to be a business manager or a general manager. I'm good in my skill and that's all I want to do. So how do we change that? Because I think that I also have that belief of like, I'm not really good at leading people. I just want to do what I do. I'm good at speaking. That's it. I don't want to do anything else, right?
Yeah, I think part of the presentation is actually coming to a holistic understanding of where you belong on that spectrum. Like which level suits your skill set, which level resonates with you, like almost like a musical, like harmonics almost. And my presentation might be a little musical as well along the way. That's the key. When you think about that spectrum of musical notes, you've got harmonics from here and here, your personal skill set, your personal, who you are, your ambitions, everything will resonate with a particular level. For some people, it will be with the customer. They just love it. And so there's so many opportunities for people who love serving the customer directly to grow a massive business. I talk about examples of that. But then there's other people that just really like enjoy the management or enjoy the small team interaction. And then there's others that just really are drawn to how big can this possibly be? What is the boundary condition of this business that we can explore? So that's sort of what I love to help people with, is like, where is your truth? Where is the exciting frontier that you wish to chase? Okay, once you've defined that, what does excellence look like? Because you can be elite level 0 entrepreneur, or you can be an elite level 4 entrepreneur. There's an amazing life to be built at all levels. There's compromises at both levels, at all levels. That's what I would say. There's actually nothing wrong with where anyone feels that they belong. In fact, that's a signal to be listened to, but it's not to be confused with, the signal isn't of, I feel comfortable at a certain level.
Yes, it's not about being comfortable. It's about where you belong, right? Different.
Yeah, they're two different things. You can be comfortable. Everyone's comfortable where they're at, doing what they're doing. That's a very safe place to be. But does it truly satisfy you? Do you look in the mirror and feel you're living up to your own potential? That's a very important element of a fulfilling life. And I think that's sort of what I really try and challenge people who work with me to be honest with themselves about, is go like, what in your wildest dream, what could you do? What do you feel you should do? And for me, I just felt I wanted the business to be bigger. I wanted to and I think a lot of entrepreneurship as well as experiential. I want to experience the next level. I want to experience the next thing. I want to understand why someone can be ultra successful in a small niche, or someone can run 17 companies that are all over $1 billion.
Right.
Like Musk. I want to understand the theory behind what makes that. And during the conference, I'll be sharing a model that places all of that in one kind of grand theoretical model. Yeah.
Which I absolutely love. That's why I'm super excited. Okay, now, when someone is watching this and they see someone as successful as you, Dave, sometimes there is that little mind of going, it's easy for him because he's smart, or because he's work it all out and he can do it. But for me, it's too difficult. For me, I've got this big challenge and I can't see past it. And so I want to know, like, did you have any ups and downs through navigating these levels, and how did you deal with them?
Oh, at every level, you have ups and downs. In fact, one of the hardest times in my life was when I was at level 0. I was serving the customer directly, and I just would come home crying every day. Like, I would just be like inside and outside, and I would just not understand why. I'd be like, why? And I'm doing well. People dream of a job like dentistry, really. But yet, for me, I just couldn't do it. And I had a father that was a dentist, and it was a confusing time for sure.
It was in your DNA, right?
Oh, well, and he seemed so happy. Like, he was loving it. He'd been doing it for 40 years. He was thrilled. And yet I was just, for whatever reason, I was just deeply unfulfilled, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So sort of maybe there'll be people in the audience feeling the same way. So I definitely want to normalize those feelings, to say that you just know when you're not in the right place. So that was a big challenge. Then in stepping up to become a manager, there's a whole raft of skills that have to be learned at that level. And I failed at so many. I mean, I fired someone and they turned up the next day. I've got 101 anecdotes of, I've been through just as a general manager, just directly managing people. It was sort of that level 2. It feels like more failure than success as you're going, but it's this sort of slow tide of skill accumulation that eventually gets you to the point where you're competent, and you can almost feel like you could walk into any business now and just have the broad skills of that. And I go through pretty much at each level, what are the big 4 skills that you need to master? And so, at a managerial level, just so many failures. But that's actually, interestingly, systemization allows you to capture firstly, identify the failures and then document the improvements and capture those improvements. Our system that runs these businesses now is just an accumulation of a decade's worth of successes and failures and different ideas and stuff. So that's sort of a big component to it, is that journey to become a systems thinker rather than a charisma. You want to be a systems-based entrepreneur, an information-based entrepreneur, rather than a charisma-based entrepreneur or a personality-based entrepreneur. That is one of the essential changes that is required in your growth. In the last 5 years in business, I was at a level 3 entrepreneur, and God, tricky business. Like, you're influencing the people that are influencing the people. They're like, there's such an art to it that it's taken me this long to basically really decipher, okay, what are the core truths of that role? And the failures, I would say the higher you get, the more accustomed to failure you need to become. But yet, for some reason, because you're operating on such a higher frequency, the outcomes, the financial outcomes, the impact is so much greater.
Do you notice that some of your clients, that I think it feels is happening to me in the last probably 12 months, it's like if I'm in limbo between one level to the other, and I feel like I'm in limbo. So I'm like, okay, I think I'm now out of dealing with clients. I think I'm out of selling. I'm good. And then it's sort of like we had 2-3 months that are bad. I'm like, I need to go back in. And so now I'm back selling. Like, I feel like I'm in limbo, and I feel a little bit lost sometimes, because I'm like, who am I? Am I like the person that needs to be with the clients, or I'm actually going to be able to be a general manager? Because I don't feel I have the skills, right? So it's sort of like I keep sabotaging it. Normal?
It completely normal. The journey to the higher level, that if you're called to that, it sounds like you are, and my observation is you are.
Yes.
It is like a leap of religious faith to actually get to kind of the next tier, the next plateau, the next promised land there. And it tests you. I mean, the classic example of this, at the very first clinic, I'm going to step out and I'm going to hire another dentist at one of the clinics. And the new dentist stepped in, and I thought, I'll just cover when someone's sick or someone's... Anyway, on the first day they were sick. So so I'm straight back in there, right? And then I think this particular dentist, within 3 months, had 18 sick days.
Oh my Lord.
And it got to the 19th sick day, and I get the phone call at 7 a.m. Hey, and I go, shut the business. I just said, just close the doors for today and go home, right? And I don't even know, probably can't even do that with Fair Work these days. But everyone was like, all the team were in shock. They thought I was covering it. Eventually, the business has to stand. And guess what? The team shared their disappointment with the dentist who was repeatedly sick. And we took action. We replaced him with another dentist who was actually then there for 10 years and basically just one of the most incredible hires I've ever made. Small anecdote, but you can see, tested me. It took me to that point where I had to actually say, no, I'm willing to burn the boats here and challenge this business to work somewhat independently of me, at least in terms of customer delivery.
Yes. It takes courage.
It is. Anyone who says it's easy is a liar. It takes real courage. It takes preparation. It's not something I encourage everyone to do tomorrow if they want to go down that path. It takes preparation. It takes great mentors in your corner to sort of hold your hand on that journey. That's, our organization that we've been a part of, EO, is fabulous for that. It's something I'm sort of professionally doing more and more of, is just holding people's hand on that journey. Because I know what's on the other side. And that business, it went on to have 10, basically 12 fantastic years before we sold it last year to one of the dentists that works within it. And there's a whole nother world on the other side of those tough decisions and those stakes in the ground that go, no, this is my level. Because, one thing I always talk about is you're defined by the lowest level that you get involved with. If, people say, I'll just do a day a week serving customers. Well, actually, that takes up 80% of your mental bandwidth.
Wow.
Right?
That phrase alone, we should just like go, this is what Dave is going to talk about at the conference. Absolutely love it. Dave, I could talk with you the whole day, as you know, but I know your time and I just don't want to respect that. So one more question. What's the key takeaway, the one key takeaway that you would like people to take away from your session at the Level Up conference?
I would like them to see clearly the path to transform their life and to transform their business experience. it is a well-trodden path. It's a path that is, it's really been curating the knowledge. I wanted to see the truth, the underlying laws of business, a bit like the underlying laws of physics. They were always there until somebody tells you them. You go, oh, yes, that's right. Force does equal mass times acceleration. Yes. I wanted them to see those truths, because really decoding the truth in complex systems is really like my why. That's what I want them to see. I want them to see, and then with that knowledge, they can make the choice as to where on that treasure map they want to land in years to come.
I love it. That's amazing. A lot of people are telling me, Francesca, I can't afford to take 2 days out of my business. My business will crash. And I'm like, that's why you have to come. So if you were to talk to those people right now that are watching this and they would like to come, but taking the 14th and 15th of May out of the business, it seems like impossible. What would you say to them?
Do it. You don't know what you don't know. Every business organization has the same question. People encounter it and go, I can't afford to. In fact, I would say that's the symptom. The symptom of that you need help, that you need external ideas and input, is the fact that you don't have sovereignty over your time and you don't have that sort of level of control. So yeah, definitely come along and hear what I and others have to say, because there's a world in which you do have that sovereignty, you do have that flexibility, you're making as much or more money. And I really want to share with you how to get there, because it's not magic. It's a series of sequential steps that I've taken a lot of people through, and they can do it too.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dave. I am so excited. Less than a month now to come to conference. So if you haven't got your ticket, get it now and come and share the amount of knowledge that Dave has, and it's going to help us scale our business. I'll be on the first row taking notes, because I always learn so much from Dave. Thank you so much, Dave, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you at the conference. Should be awesome. Thank you, Francesca. Thanks for the opportunity. See you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll see you there. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this amazing podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this, you're definitely going to love my Facebook group, where I've got over 11,000 people in it, and they're all business owners successful like you. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge, and in there I do classes every week, and I get to interview my clients, and I get to teach you all the things that I've done to get my business to 100K plus a month. So I look forward to have you in there. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge Facebook group in Facebook. I look forward to see you there. Ciao.